You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So Friedrich Nietzsche was a German philosopher who was born in the mid 19th century, so like 1800s, and then died in the early 20th century having a mental breakdown and going mad. But prior to that, in his seminal work, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche outlines what he believes are the three stages that a human being can possibly encounter, and also how a human being should strive for greatness. So the first stage that most people are born in, most people live in, and that most people die in is called the camel. And during the camel stage of life, you are weighed down by the weights that other people place upon you, much like a camel. You are told you have to go to school every day. You are told you have to go to church every Sunday. You are told you have to cover your mouth when you sneeze. You are told that you have to wear your contacts this many times a day. You're told you have to brush your teeth this many times a day. You are told all of the things to do, and you don't really necessarily have a sense of self, and you actually also don't really know what you want because everything that you care about has been placed upon you by other people. And these people are the person guiding the camel through the desert of life, leading them to an oasis that this person chooses for the camel. The camel does not know where the oasis is. The camel doesn't choose to go to the oasis. It's being led by this person who's guiding it, saying, trust me, I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going. In the meantime, care about all these things and you'll be all right. So, that's in the early stage of life. And most people never actually leave this stage. The second stage that Nietzsche identifies, it's what's called the lion. And what the lion starts to do is the lion starts to look at all of these, Nietzsche calls them real-world theories, starts to look at all these real-world theories, like you have to go to school every Sunday, you have to brush your teeth, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to care about these things because I tell you to. What the lion does is the lion starts looking around and he starts saying, well, why do I have to care about school? Why do I have to go to college? Why do I have to cover my mouth when I sneeze? Why do I have to brush my teeth every day? And most people who enter the lion stage never actually leave. They become kind of nihilists. They don't really believe in anything, they just believe in not believing, right? These are the people who don't care about their lives, don't have any goals, don't have any objectives, and are just kind of there. They just are, but they don't do anything, right? These are people who just have rejected everything, rebelled against everything, and don't believe in anything as an act of ultimate rebellion. But Nietzsche says that this is a complete fallacy, because if you don't do anything, right, and then one day you're going to die, you're going to have died doing nothing and having led an unsuccessful and unworthy life. So, what the lion must do is the lion must kill the dragon, and the dragon is called thou shalt. And on every single scale of this dragon is a different thou shalt phrase. Thou shalt go to school. Thou shalt become a doctor. Thou shalt brush your teeth. Thou shalt do what I tell you to do. Thou shalt follow the oasis that I have set for you. And what Nietzsche says is you have to kill this dragon. You have to get rid of all these things that people tell you to do. But you don't have to just do that. You have to go further beyond. Because as I said earlier, if you just kill the dragon, you become a nihilist and a person without any goals or objectives in life, and you simply are. So what Nietzsche says is that you have to believe in something, right? You can't just believe in nothing. So what Nietzsche says, Nietzsche doesn't want you not to brush your teeth. He doesn't want you not to cover your mouth when coughing. He doesn't not want you to go to school, become a doctor. He doesn't want you to not, he doesn't, what Nietzsche wants you to do is simply look at these things, analyze these real world theories, and pick the ones that work for you. So, you can absolutely go to church every Sunday, but what Nietzsche says is you shouldn't do it because other people tell you to. You shouldn't go to church because, oh, it's what my dad did, it's what my mom does, we always do it, it's what I've always done. No, Nietzsche says that what you should say is, I want to go to church every Sunday because I want to, because I'm a religious person, I believe in this deity, I believe in God, and going to church rejuvenates my soul and makes me feel whatever. Now, I'm not a religious person, so I can't necessarily speak for church, but let's even take something like school. Nietzsche doesn't say, and he doesn't actually say school. This is just kind of an example that I put in because a lot of people can identify with it. But what Nietzsche would tell you is, don't just not go to school because people tell you not to go to school. What Nietzsche would say is, go to school, but go to school because you want to go there. Go to school because you're an intellectually curious person who's interested in pursuing a career in biology, medicine, history, philosophy, whatever it is. You should follow that, not because the camel Walker has put these weights on you, but because you have decided to care about these things, right? And so what Nietzsche says is that after you have destroyed the lion, after you are no longer a camel, and after you have found these real world theories that you believe in, he says you become a child. Why does he say you become a child? Well, if you think about children on a playground, what are they doing? They're just running all over the place. They're not thinking. They're not really caring about all their actions they're doing. They're not overanalyzing everything. The child that plays simply does. He plays on the swings with his friends, and then he sees, oh, that baseball game looks fun. So he goes over there and he plays baseball and says, oh, maybe that kickball game looks fun. Maybe we'll go play kickball, or Maybe I'll let hopscotch looks fun. Maybe I'll go play hopscotch. And Nietzsche says that human beings should do the same thing with their lives. You should say, oh, this trip to Europe to study, Greek philosophy seems really interesting. I should go do this. And he says you should set these goals for yourself that are challenging and will test you. He says, metaphorically, it's like climbing a mountain, right? You say, here's a mountain that I want to climb, and you're climbing this mountain. And it's miserable, and it sucks a lot of the time, but it takes discipline, and you're climbing this mountain because you want to get to the top of this mountain. Not because anybody has told you so, but because you have decided, I want to climb this mountain, and so I'm going to use my discipline, I'm going to make sacrifices, and I'm going to suffer to achieve this goal, right? And then Nietzsche says, once you've arrived at the top of the mountain, all that suffering immediately becomes worth it, because you can see all the valleys around you, you can see everything that you've accomplished, and you've climbed a frickin' mountain, dude. Something that you've cared about and something that you've accomplished. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be a mountain. It could be something as simple as, I want to do an ab workout every night for 15 minutes. I want to learn German. I want to become better at writing books. I want to read more books. It can be anything so long as you choose it, and so long as it's difficult and something that will improve you as a person. And once you accomplish this goal, once you climb a mountain, well, what do you do next? Well, you find the next mountain, you climb the next mountain, you do the next thing that you want to do that you think will challenge you, and you just move from challenge to challenge, constantly bettering yourself until you are what Nietzsche calls the Overman, or what is sometimes been translated as the Superman, because you have transcended the camel, you've transcended the average human's being life. You've become a Superman because you are fully in control of your life and you do great things with that life. But Nietzsche doesn't say it has to be mountains. Nietzsche says it could be even something as simple as being a really good teacher, or being a really good plumber, or being a really good truck driver, or being a really good Air Force pilot. It's what you want to do. Nietzsche says you need to live it to the best and live your best life, and he suggests it by doing these goals. And then once you're a child at play, eventually you die, but when you die, you can look back on this great monument of things that you have done, as opposed to the camel who at the end of their life looks back and says, oh, maybe I should have gone on that trip to Europe instead of going to college like my dad said, or, oh, maybe I should have become a history professor instead of a medical doctor because I love history. The camel is full of regret. The Overman is full of satisfaction.
Damn.
That's like the basic.
The basic.
That's like
the
like
basic. He
that's
says.
That's like the general.
Jesus,
I
dude.
can't stay focused for that long.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I tried to make it as engaging as possible, bro.
That was probably one of the
Yeah, I was
most
slipping
engaging
in
things
and
I've
out.
ever listened to.
It's just like Ender's Game.
I don't know Ender's Game.
Thank you,
but
dude.
I
Read